Hi, I'm Kelly and this is an update video. So the last video I left you guys with was after we had tried IVF over this summer, and IVF failed for us. It resulted in a chemical pregnancy, and that was my fifth miscarriage or fifth loss, if you're counting, and like I count all the chemicals and everything. So that's where I left you off, and I had told you in that video how I kind of felt like I was just done with the whole thing. Like I was kind of feeling like giving up, but like not in a negative way giving up, in an actually like positive sort of zen way, just like letting go of it and moving on and being content with where I was in life. So that's where I was after my last video. And it's been a while since then, and I am a bit trepidatious to I've been trepidatious, I guess, to update because we are pregnant, and I did not want to like jinx it. I didn't want to talk about it, and then I don't know. It's complicated. There's so many things that go into it. Like you don't want to talk about it because then you don't want it to just be a miscarriage and then go through it all over again. And then at the same time, I kind of don't want to talk about it because there's this sense of guilt, like I'm really happy that I'm pregnant, but then at the same time, like I feel guilty because I feel like I wish this for everybody else out there. Like I don't want to, like I want everybody to have this, so I kind of feel bad, and I don't want to like rub it in anybody's face. So it's been, I don't know, it's been complicated. Having a pregnancy after miscarriages are, I think they're always complicated. So that's my big update. And in saying that, there's like a couple of things that I really want to put out there that have sunk in for me this time around. And so one of those things is that, like for me to say that I'm pregnant now, and we've made it to 19 weeks, I think we are right now. So we've made it pretty far. We've made it out of the first trimester. This is the farthest that we've made so far. So I'm feeling fairly confident, but I don't think like I'll ever lose the little bit of fear that something could happen. Like I think that'll always be there until I actually have a baby in my arms. But what I've realized that I really want to share is that like just because I'm pregnant and so far it looks like it's successful, that doesn't mean that I hate the term like that I beat infertility, or that I was somehow like successful in a way that other people who don't get pregnant are not successful. Like I don't appreciate those terms, because it wasn't like I did anything that made me like, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't like I accomplished anything to get pregnant. Like I just got lucky, and it just took, I guess it took time, and I'm sure there was some treatments that went into it and everything, but more than anything, I think it's just random. So I really hate for other people to feel like disappointed that if someone else isn't pregnant. I hate that feeling. Like I don't want to be like, oh, I'm a success now, and if you're not pregnant, that you're somehow not a success, because it has nothing to do with success or failure. I'm rambling so much. But I want to say that you don't have to get pregnant or have a baby to beat infertility. As a matter of fact, I consider for myself, like I can consider that I beat infertility before I got pregnant. So that time that I was telling you about, whenever I kind of felt like very zen about it and very like at peace with the fact that I didn't have a baby, and that I didn't think that I was going to, and I kind of like just let it go, and I was able to move on with other things in my life. I feel like that was the moment when I beat infertility, and when like I felt successful in myself. And so the fact of if I got pregnant like after that or not, that's not really a success or a failure. That's just random. So now the question that everybody always asks after somebody's gone through multiple miscarriages and then has a pregnancy that appears to be going well, the question everyone asks is, would you do different? So let me kind of tell you a little bit about what I did different this time. So we had all of our treatments that we already had before. Like we already had the LIT, We had already tried prednisone with cycles. We had tried that several times. We had already been added Lovenox and aspirin during our cycles. And none of that seemed to be working. So then I came to this point where I just felt like, you know what? It's not happening, and I'm really tired of trying. And I felt like I was putting way too much energy into it, and it was just not healthy or helpful for me any longer. So I just kind of put it down, and we stopped trying. I was not like tracking my ovulation. I wasn't peeing on ovulation prediction sticks. I wasn't even taking prenatal vitamins anymore. And so we weren't doing prednisone, we weren't doing Lovenox like before ovulation or any of that jazz. We were doing absolutely nothing, no medicine, just having a normal life. And that's when I got pregnant. And it's kind of like, I hate saying that because I know there's so many people that tell you, oh, you just need to relax, you just need to stop trying, you just need to calm down, and then it'll happen. So I hate telling you that like that's actually what worked, but that's true. But in saying that, I will tell you that I still don't appreciate people telling me or telling anybody to just calm down and stop trying, and I would never give you that advice because the truth is that it's a journey. And so I just happened to be at that place in my journey where I was ready to set it down and give up. But like there were people that told me that many, many times before in my journey, and it wasn't helpful because I wasn't at a place where I was ready to forget about it and kind of give up. Like I think it took all that stuff. It took all the trying, it took all the everything to get to that point for me to finally be like, okay, I feel like I've tried everything and I'm ready to move on. So in a sense, like, you know, that old saying, it ended up being true, but I don't think it's something that you can consciously do. Like I tried in the past to tell myself like, okay, Kelly, we're gonna just give up. Who cares about this? I don't want no stupid baby. I would tell myself this, and I would try to like work myself up to quit trying and to just not care. And no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't really make myself do that. So I'm sorry that that's kind of the answer because it's really cliche and really unhelpful. And I'm sorry that that's sort of what ended up being the case. But there were a few other things that went into it. So I'm going to go into those other things that went into it. So what also happened was whenever we went to do IVF during the summer, as I was progressing with the stimulation medicine, my ovaries, like my follicles were growing, but they weren't really like growing, I guess, fast enough or enough of them were growing. So I ended up, by the end of stims, I ended up on the maximum dose allowed. So it wasn't very fun. It felt pretty like yucky and I didn't enjoy it, but I was on the maximum and I was thinking like, okay, this has got to work. And then whenever I went in for my final day where they checked my follicles, I had 11 that had grown to be like, I guess, significant size. So I thought 11 was a pretty good number. And then whenever they did the retrieval, I ended up only having one egg that was able to be retrieved. And when I talked to the doctor afterward, he explained to me that the other follicles were not mature. They were immature. So I believe that what happens, because I've done some like research on it after he told me that, I believe that what happens is that like as they go in with a needle into the follicle, like as soon as the needle touches the follicle, it just like bursts open. And that's like what an immature follicle is. And so they're not able to actually withdraw the egg from the follicle. So out of 11, only one had an actual decent egg that they were able to retrieve. And then I was lucky that that one egg actually did fertilize and it actually made a good blastocyst, and you know, we were able to transfer. So we were very lucky in that regard. But I think something just didn't work with implantation because that didn't work out. But this gave me a little piece of the puzzle. So once I knew that my eggs were immature, I went to the internet and started searching what causes immature eggs. And I came across this one doctor on YouTube, and I'll link his YouTubes below. And he talked about how he has seen this in patients, and he kind of like described the patients that he's seen this in, and it sounded a lot like me. Like it sounded a lot like all the things that I've been through, and the profile of those patients was similar to me. And he said that it was caused by low levels of testosterone. And as soon as I heard that, like a bell went off in my head, because a few months prior, my work is doing this thing, like we're adding on this this part of our company that's doing wellness, and they're like doing wellness coaching. So all of the employees were like automatically enrolled in this wellness coaching. And what they did, some blood tests they ran on us. And when they ran these blood tests, I initially thought like, okay, sure, you can run them, but you're not going to find anything, because I've had like a million blood tests run on me, and everything ends up saying it's pretty much okay, pretty much normal. Or, you know, the things that were abnormal, I've already addressed. But I didn't think anything much of this. But lo and behold, my testosterone was low. And I found that really weird, because the doctors that I have been to, like the amount of doctors that I have been to is just crazy. And the amount of blood tests that they have drawn and run on me is crazy. And not anybody ever thought to run a testosterone test. And when I start researching it, testosterone is important for female reproductive health. Like at first I thought, you know, well, that's just a guy thing. It doesn't matter if mine is low, but it actually does matter if a girl's testosterone is low. And what I found is that testosterone is important and is like necessary for the maturation process of our eggs. So if you have low testosterone, your eggs have trouble with the final maturation process. So things were kind of like starting to make sense. Like I felt like the puzzle pieces were coming together once the doctor told me that, and I did some research and I knew my testosterone levels. So what this doctor suggested, and like I didn't see this doctor, I didn't go into him, I just watched his stuff on YouTube. But what he suggests for his patients is that if they have low testosterone and they're having these troubles, then he runs a few other tests on them, which I did run on myself. It's like a, one of them is like some kind of sex something test, and then one of them is a DHEA test, or DHEA sulfate test. And so I ran these tests on myself, and my numbers kind of coincided with what he said he sees in his patients. And so what he recommends is starting on DHEA. And you take 25 milligrams 3 times a day. So it ends up being like 75 milligrams a day. And you do that for 6 weeks, and then you retest testosterone. And if your testosterone has not risen to a good enough level, after 6 weeks, did I say 6 months? I meant 6 weeks. So after 6 weeks, if it hasn't risen, then you use actual testosterone, like there's an injection of testosterone. So that was my plan. I decided that I was going to do this DHEA supplement, which is available over the counter. You don't need a prescription for it. I bought it from Amazon. And I will say though, don't just run out and buy this, because if you have PCOS, and PCOS will cause you to have a high testosterone, then it can really mess with you, and it can mess up your cycles and everything, and then it can make you not ovulate. So don't run out and buy DHEA just because it worked for me. If you are concerned that this might be an issue, you should definitely test your testosterone. And if your testosterone is low, then maybe you might want to try it. Or maybe talk to your doctor about it. But anyways, I took it for 6 weeks, and then I planned on testing myself again. But what happened is that over that 6 weeks that I was taking it, that's whenever I started feeling like I was ready to give up. So I ended up finishing the 6 weeks, and then I was kind of like I thought about it. I was like, oh, you know, I should go take a test to see what my testosterone is now. And I was just like, you know, I don't care. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. And I'm just tired of, I was just tired of it all. And me testing it wasn't going to make it different. Either, I was just at the point, like either it's going to happen or not. And I'm done with all the trying. I'm done with putting so much energy into it. So I took the 6 weeks, and then I stopped, and I never did anything else after that. And I kind of forgot about it. And then it was very shortly after that that I found out that I was pregnant. And like I said, so far it has worked. So I do believe that my testosterone being low had something to do with it, because we had been trying to get pregnant for like months and months, like 18 months or something, and we never could even get pregnant until just all of a sudden I took this DHEA. And then I think it was like after the 6 weeks, I think there was like 2 weeks or something, and then I think that after that 2 weeks, I think I started my next cycle, and that was the cycle that I got pregnant on. So for me, it seemed like it was very immediate that I got pregnant, and it seemed to be a good egg, because so far it looks like a healthy baby. So that is what I did. I did the DHEA differently. I did not do any of my medicines like prednisone or Lovenox ahead of time. And I actually didn't even do prednisone once I found out that I was pregnant. All I did whenever I found out I was pregnant was start on Lovenox and aspirin and vitamin E. Vitamin E also helps with like the blood clotting stuff, so I just wanted to be extra safe with the blood clotting stuff. So that's why I take those 3. Oh, and I also did progesterone for like the first 12 weeks. And that's all that I did, and I didn't start any of that again until I knew I was pregnant. The other thing that I will say that has been different about this pregnancy is that I found a new doctor. I found a new OB. It was kind of like life was being weird, like it normally is. But due to some like strange life circumstances that happened, we ended up in another city, and I was like, well, let me try to see if I can get a doctor in this city for now, because I was thinking that if I'm gonna have a miscarriage while we're not like in our home city, then I might need somebody to help me manage the miscarriage. And so I got this OB in this other city, and I ended up absolutely loving this OB. He was the best that I've had so far, and he has been very very caring and very concerned about me. Like, this is the first doctor that I have been to that I think actually cared one way or another if my baby survived or not. It seemed to me like all the other doctors, like I would go to them for my first appointment, and they would just kind of be like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, let's just see what happens. And like, if the baby survives, then I'll see you again. And if not, then I can't help you. That's been the feeling, and that's almost what they've actually told me previously. But this doctor was like, okay, you know, you have some risk factors, you've had some losses, so I want to see you every 2 weeks. I want you coming in here, and we're going to do an ultrasound, and we're going to check things, and we're going to, you know, he checked my progesterone, he checked different, like some different labs. He was just like more on top of things and being more proactive instead of just kind of waiting and seeing what happens. And maybe that helped as well, because some studies have shown that like TLC care, like tender loving care, helps lower miscarriage rates. So that could have also helped, having like a really good doctor. And the other thing that I'll say that I did is that I actually feel like I did a really good job this pregnancy, of not stressing about it. And I don't know, I'm pretty proud of myself, because normally it's extremely stressful being pregnant after you've had just one loss, really. So I was like, I feel like it would have been very, very easy for me to be very stressed and very high strung and very worried about this pregnancy. But I actually was pretty laid back, and I was just kind of like, you know, what's going to happen is going to happen, and me worrying about it isn't going to stop it. And it ended up being okay. So I don't know if maybe having that attitude helped, but it certainly helped my sanity. It helped me feel better about it. So that's where I'm at, and I will keep y'all updated with this pregnancy to let you know how things are going. And in my next video, I will share with you my tips on how I kept my sanity during the first trimester, and how I continue to keep my sanity during this pregnancy, and really how to enjoy your pregnancy even though you've had losses in the past. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I wish you luck on your journey wherever it may take you.